So this is the beta.capriai.us. So this is going to be the home page. And basically what you'll do here is you'll just click sign up or log in with beta. And when you do that, it'll take you through our OAuth flow, get you to sign in, create an account, all this stuff. If you don't have an organization yet, it'll ask you to create an organization. But if you do have an organization already created, then it'll just ask you to select which organization it is that you want to connect to. So I'm going to choose Q testing 2 since that's the one I've been testing with, and we'll walk through what that looks like. Basically, our goal here is to have quick create actions that you can have. Sorry, my Siri's deciding to go off. So our goal here is to have quick create actions where you can just choose one of these templates, put in your questions and answers, and it'll create an agent for you quickly. We're going to be adding more and more examples as we get more resources put together for these and allow people to quick create. And we're also going to be updating the docs over this weekend to make sure that all of the resources that we share are available in the help.capriai.us as well.
Hey, real quick. So can we look at these as chat GPTs?
Yeah, you can look at these as a GPT agent if you want.
Like that kind of like, okay.
That is kind of the direction that we went in. So, but if we're here and you don't necessarily want to create an agent from scratch right away, or you want to import your data from V2 to start with, all you got to do is just go to settings, and then under channels, click on add new, and then you can choose high level. And when you sign in with high level, make sure you're logged in this browser. But if it's an account that we already have connected, I'm gonna come to this page that says, hey, this account has data in our legacy version. Do you want to import this data now? It won't do anything to your original account. So the one that's operating right now, nothing will change at all. All it's going to do is bring everything from your original account over into V3. And when you do that, the reason I'm doing this first, so you can kind of see too the migration structure. So that was one high level account that I just connected to, but because of the way that we're mapping the resources, that now will become its own agent. So you can see that this agent was created from the OpenAI key that I have in that V2 account, so in my current account, the main prompt that I had in that account, and then the 2 actions that I have for that account as well. So to bring everything over, and more importantly, it brings over all of your saved sessions. So all of the conversations that you had that were saved for this location, all of them are going to be brought over into V3. And you can like filter out by what agent you want and like saved or not saved, whatever it is. But yeah, so that's the migration. So that's so that you can see what it looks like to go from a V2 account into a V3 account, and you can kind of see that you can view all of your agents at once, and there's not really limitation as to how much you can do with it. And then from there, you can always test it. And so like, let's say, is anyone available to chat? And it should work just fine. So it should be able to work pretty much exactly as it works in V2. It'll work the same way in V3. Now, let's say that we want to build one from scratch, because the point of today's training is to show how to allow your Capri agent to book on multiple calendars based off of what the conversation is, without having to set up too many complicated workflows. So this is one of the biggest things that we've always wanted to be able to accomplish, but there's always been challenges focused around like when you should have the, which calendar ID used. And so in addition to allowing multiple calendars to be connected, we also have allowed for a different prompt to be added for every calendar as well. So let's just create an agent. I'm going to call this one North Georgia Chiropractic, because that's where I live and that's the template information that I have created. So I'm going to click create, and it's going to give you an empty agent. So the first thing you'll always set in your agent is going to be the model. So for me, I'm always going to go with GPT-4, and we should have GPT-4 Turbo in. I'm going to get it done by the end of the day. We should have it ready to go by the end of the day. And then you choose which which OpenAI key you want to use. And if you don't have a key saved yet, all you do is just click add new key, and it'll take you to the settings page where you'll click configure, and then you can come here, click add, and then it'll tell you where to get that OpenAI key. And you can come here, get your OpenAI key, put the name, save it, and then now you've got an AI key. So we'll select the model that we want, the API key that we want. If you want to configure more advanced settings, so if you want to put the temperature higher or lower, the max length, the penalty, all that stuff, you can save that and keep it with your overrides, or you can just use our defaults. And then for the prompt, so I'm going to put friendly assistant Ashley or something like that. And for the prompting, it actually follows pretty much the same structure that we've always followed with the original legacy app of you are assistant name, you work for business name, yada, yada, yada. The difference is we actually did a little bit less backend prompting here. So now your changes, whatever you put into this prompt, are now going to have less impact from our backend prompt. So we don't put a lot of the stuff that we used to put that was restricting the agent's ability to talk about itself and its instructions and all that stuff. We left it up to you, and we're going to just provide a lot more resources, including this GPT training doc that I'm going over. So I will be sharing this Google Doc with everybody. I'll make sure I link it to the video recording, comment, everything like that. But the prompt that we're using for the main prompt is, again, it's fairly similar to the same GPT-3 prompts that we've always used, the same kind of structure. And so I'm just going to copy and paste this and put it here. Oop, not there, into our main prompt. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. And now I've got this prompt ready to go. And another thing that a lot of people really wanted was the ability to have more control over when a fallback happens. And so what we've done now is where you can click advanced settings, and then you can actually put what you consider a fallback. So now if you want to be able to say like, hey, the agent needs help when they say something like this, or it should be considered a fallback if the customer asks about this or something like that. So all of that can be entered in the fallback prompt. And if you have that saved as the active prompt, we'll use this prompt and this fallback prompt whenever we receive a request. So that's setting up the initial prompt. And then from here, we want to actually set up actions that can happen as well. And so we have the supported actions that we can do right now is GHL channel, GHL calendar. So GHL channel is tags. So if we want to be able to add a tag, you put what tag you want to have them evaluated for. And so I'll put like repeat customer, let's say. And I want to evaluate it on every turn. And then silent mode, this just means if we should add the tag only, or if we should add the tag and send the message. So by default, we're going to always send the message when we add the tag. But if you want to change that behavior, you can just click silent, and it'll make it so that we only add the tag and don't send any message if this evaluation comes true. And then you just put what you want us for. So this tag should be added if the customer says they have been to our office before, or they are a regular patient. We'll just say that for now. And so now, every time I test this, or every time I speak with this agent, so I'll go here, go to the test in emulator, in case you guys didn't see that. There's a little test in the emulator button here. So I'll test in the emulator, and then I'll come here and I'll say, hello, I need an adjustment. And now keep in mind, guys, live demos are always fun. So bear with me if it doesn't work, but it's been working pretty well today. Great. Be happy to schedule you the adjustment. Can you please tell me which city is most convenient for you? We have offices in Suwanee, Cumming, Beaufort, Gainesville, Pleasanton. Cool. So I'm going to say I'm in Beaufort. Been there many times before. So in this case, we would expect it to add that tag, right? Because the prompt for the tag was that if they're a a repeat customer. They've been there before, whatever. So we come here, and sure enough, we do see it did add this tag. So it didn't actually add the tag to the contact, but it's telling you that if this conversation was happening in the CRM, it would have added this tag. And if you ever want to correct it, if you ever want to say that it shouldn't have, all you got to do is just click delete and delete that action, and then save the session. So if you come here and save this session with that action included, it remembers everything. It remembers what the agent said. It remembers what actions were done. Or if you put the delete button and save it, then it's going to say, oh, it shouldn't have. So it basically is going to provide a negative example of when it should not add this tag, essentially. And this is really what builds the foundation of how you can build more awareness of the agent for when it should or should not do actions. So that's just for the tag. But let's say we're doing this, and just like it said, it has multiple offices, one in Suwanee, Cumming, Buford, Gainesville, and Brazelton. So let's say I want it to read the Buford calendar after I give them my phone number. So 470-444-5558. That's an 8, not a 5. So anyway, to make this useful, I would want it to obviously read the appointment or read the calendar to let me know what days are available, right? But I really only want it to read the calendar for the Buford office, right? I don't want it to read the calendar for the Brazelton or for the Cumming office. I don't want it to read a calendar for another location. I want it to read the calendar for the one that this person wants to go to. So let's say anytime next week, it's fine. And then it's going to probably make something up because this is a brand new agent. Great. How about we schedule your appointment for Monday next week? What morning or afternoon work better? So it's doing okay. I haven't really trained it too much yet. But what I really would want for it to do in this scenario, as someone who's trying to maximize appointments, is I would want it to go ahead and read the calendar and then offer some times that are available for next week. And so you can see it's still reading from the previous message. And again, you can set these settings so that in the CRM, it only evaluates this if the contact does not already have this tag. Or you can provide it as, a negative example saying that it shouldn't have read it on this particular message. But anyway, let's say that we wanted to add that it should have read a GHL channel. So all I'm going to do is come here and click add and then click select provider. So in this case, I wanted it to read a GHL calendar. And then I'm going to say read. So then I'm going to choose the account. I don't have one connected yet. So I'm going to click add new resource, and that'll take me to the integrations page. So I do have one calendar connected so far, but I haven't added it to the agent just yet. So I'm going to go back to the agent, and I'm going to click here and say, I want you to read this GHL calendar. This is the only one I have connected. I want you to read it. And I do already have these prompts pre-built here. So read this calendar when coordinating appointment with the user, only when required to find the availability of a particular range or range of days. So I'm going to take this and put it here. And I'm going to replace city with this one will be for Buford, say. So this calendar is only for the Buford, and it's only for reading the Buford calendar. And if I ever want to use a different model, so if I ever want to use, like Chat GPT for the main model up here, let's say, but then for the action, I want to use like GPT-4 or one of the more advanced Chat GPT models, I can do that as well with advanced settings. By default, it's going to use this key and this model type. Once you determine like, okay, so now that's one calendar for the Buford office. But then let's say I want to have another calendar for a different office. So I'll come back to the integrations page. Same thing. It's going to be a high level calendar. I'll connect with Go High Level. And then it's going to be the same account. And then it's going to tell me to choose which calendar I want to connect. So far I already have this discovery call one connected, but now I'm going to connect, let's just say the customer support one. And let's just pretend that this is for a different location. So now I can come back here and I can click add. and I could say, I want you to read that high level calendar. And I can use the exact same prompt that I have here, but I can say that this is for the Cumming office, let's say, or Gainesville office. And so what this allows me to do is connect all of the calendars that my agent would need to have access to for any of the data that they, or for any of the functionality that I want them to be able to have. I can add it all to the single agent. And then within the emulator, I can now teach it when it should and shouldn't do stuff. So, hey, can I come in for an adjustment? So it's evaluating all the actions on every turn now to say, should, this calendar be read? Should this be read? And it's going to say, great, which office is greater or is closest to you? And I'm going to say, I live in Gainesville. Great, our Gainesville office is closest to you. So this is the calendar that I wanted it to read for Gainesville, but I don't want it to have read the calendar just yet, just because they haven't provided a phone number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually click delete. And then I'm going to give my phone number again. So I say 470-444. It's not actually my number, by the way, guys. If you guys are trying to text me at this number, you're not going to reach me. Hope you guys don't think that's my real number. So I give my phone number. And then now, because I have provided a phone number and I've provided what city I'm in, now I would expect it to read the calendar and then offer me availability. So let's see if it does that. And remember, this hasn't been trained yet. Great. So it already did. So thank you. Let's find a time for your appointment with slots on Monday, the 20th to Friday, and on the 27th from 11 to 5. So that was kind of a long range. So let's look at the details here. So I'm going to look at the details. It did read the calendar, which is what I wanted. So that's good. But the range is kind of long. It's 11:17 to 11:27. So that's a little long. So I think instead what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say it should have read from Monday at 12:55 a.m. until, I don't know, let's just say Wednesday. Say Tuesday, 12:55 p.m. So now this is a better range that I like for it reading and not having such a wide range of times. So I think that's good. So I'm going to save that session. And then now, again, it's learning from all of it. So it's learning from the fact that it should have read this calendar. It's learning what the time range is that it should have predicted and read through, and any other actions that are saved in the session. It learns from there. So this has always been a huge headache for any clients that I ever had, especially like when I was in the dental space doing this for dental agencies. A lot of them had like several locations. This was always such a challenge, is that I would have to force them to choose just one calendar to be able to like distribute all of their appointments from, especially when I wanted to have a bot do it. And now I don't have to do that anymore. Now I'm able to connect as many calendars as I want. And so these are just for the read actions. And so then if you want it to go fully automatic and fully book in, you would just do the same thing for the write actions. So you would just go to GHL calendar, you'd say this one, and we'll say write. And then let's just say add appointments to the calendar once they've established that this is the best office for them. And so this is for the discovery call calendar, which is the Buford office. So I'm just going to put Buford and click submit. And then now, again, the same way I did with read, the same way I did with the tags, if I want to train that action in, that write action in, all I have to do is just test it out in the emulator and continue to improve its performance and save it. But lots of actions, and it's still able to keep up with the training that I provided after only a few sessions. So that's the goal that we're getting to, is we want you guys to be able to not only describe what you want to have happen with your agent, but also show through show and tell, and be able to do that as quickly and easily as possible. So going back to my testing organization here. So that's for an example with, Capri, like that's an example for like multiple locations, right? Now, one question that a lot of people ask is like, well, what if I want to be able to do this with multiple calendars for different services? So like this is super popular with med spas and like beauty salons and stuff like that. They'll have multiple services available and be running multiple ads online for the multiple services that they offer and have a different calendar for each one. So that again can create some confusion when you're trying to have one agent handle all the conversations. And so in those situations, it's usually going to be best to do one of two things. So for one, let's just go into here. Let's go to automation. We'll go to Capri GPT testing. And so for me to actually now connect to this, for me to actually now be able to connect to this, we have a workflow just like this, where the customer replied, and my filters right now is just that they have the test tag and that they're through SMS. But the webhook, so this is all for V2, and the difference here is that if you want to do it for V3, so let me just make a copy of this action here. Copy action, copy it, is here. So instead of having to have all this information, literally all you got to do is just come here, put agent, and then here, all you do is go to your agent page. Let's go like here. Make sure it's active. You should be able to set at least one active while you're on trial. And again, if you need billing support, just let our team know. We can do it really quickly for you. And your V2 subscription is active for V3. So they do carry over. You don't have to have two separate subscriptions or anything like that. So I'm going to come here and get my agent and then put it in my webhook here. And when I put that there, now anytime I get a request to this workflow, if it goes to that webhook, our system will automatically know that that is the agent that you want this request to go to. And it will respond and do all the actions just like it does in the emulator. So we're using the same thing that we use in the emulator as we do in the CRM webhooks. And then so far, we are allowing for a few override parameters. So the most important one would be prompt. So if you include prompt here, you should be able to put whatever prompt you want. And so in the case of like a med spa sample for what I was just talking about a minute ago, you would want to be able to put one of two things. One, you'd want to keep up with what offer the contact is coming from using Facebook form fields and everything like that. So what you would do is, as the original part of your workflow here, whenever, let's say, a new Facebook form is filled. So a new Facebook lead form is submitted. You'd put, if it's in form, this one, then I want to, update the custom field for whatever the ad offer is. So that way you can include it in your first message. So you would send a message from the workflow like, hey, just saw you signed up for our offer, but I don't see you on the schedule yet. Can we get you scheduled for your appointment? And this might seem really simple, but what this allows you to do is, especially if you get the wording right here, like if you have it at least close to what your resource is, now you can come here and create one single spreadsheet that has all of the offer names that you have for that account. So if you put in the first message what that offer name is, and then you attach this spreadsheet just like this. So we would come here, go to settings, go to integrations, add new, click on Google Sheets, add the sheet that I want to add. Oh, looks like we got a little error with this sheet. Okay. So you would add that sheet, and then it should ask you which sheet name you want to add. Anyway, that you can come here and add your spreadsheet there. And then as long as you have the offer name matching up to whatever you have in your message going out here, the next time they reply, they'll know, as long as you put in the prompt for this spreadsheet, that, hey, this is a sheet that contains all of the offers that we have. Whenever somebody is talking about a specific offer, you should use this sheet to get all of the details about that offer, so that you have all the relevancy as needed. So that is just a little insight in case you want to either use a custom prompt. So you should be able to put whatever prompt, just like you do here. If you put custom values in here and anything that you want in here that is specific to high level, you can do that here, and we'll use this prompt instead of the normal prompt. But if you want to just make it as simple as possible, all you do is delete all of these things, change this to agent, and then you just put the agent ID that you want to use. So you go to agents page, and then you just come here and then click save. And from there, we'll do the rest. So we have a lot of stuff still on the docket for you for beta for the Capri GPT. Today's training was, again, just focused on being able to have multiple calendars and using those calendars for different services. If you run like MedSpa, for example, or agents, if you have like different real estate agents or insurance agents that are all in the same group, or whatever it is, however you need to separate out those calendars and use them for a different purpose. Now you have the ability to do that fairly easily and use some of the most advanced models to be able to make those distinctions. So that's it for today's training. To Monday, we are going to be going over an expansion of what you just saw, but also we're going to be including how to use like a real-time inventory through Google Sheets, be able to use that to allow your agent to have access to real-time data. So we'll be doing that 12 p.m. Eastern on Monday as well. Same link, or maybe a new link, I don't know. Stay tuned in the group. We're going to post it there. And then on Wednesday, we'll do our final training, which will be probably focused around using it for your own agency and getting it set up to set more appointments for your own clients and how to run for Black Friday deals and stuff like that. So I really appreciate you guys hopping on here today. As always, really, really want your feedback. We want to get, as much feedback from you guys as possible. We are still in beta. And so while we're in beta, we're, looking for any major changes or any major requests that are coming up commonly, so that we can get them shipped in as quickly as possible. But yeah, we're going to be taking this thing as far as it'll possibly go, getting to as many integrations as we possibly can, especially depending on what you guys tell us are the most useful. So other than that, happy Friday. And thank you guys so much for hopping on here today. It's been a long time coming. And we'll see you all at the next one. Have a great weekend.